Nico Hulkenberg should be in that Haas seat next season. Why, I hear you asking, do Haas need to give Mick the boot and get the older German driver into their car? Haas have admittedly struggled these past 2 seasons, minus the good start with that P5 at Bahrain and keeping some faster-ish cars at bay in a wet Imola by Kevin Magnussen. The team simply haven't been good enough. Adding to these struggles have been their finances. Admittedly, they aren't blessed with the banks of the likes of Red Bull and Mercedes, and also have the slight inconvenience of Mick Schumacher smashing the car up for fun. I've compiled a list of reasons why getting Nico Hulkenberg into the team to establish some control and consistency will hugely benefit them for their present and future on the F1 grid. Number 1. Consistency. It is of no doubt that Nico Hulkenberg can consistently get the most out of a midfield car, as displayed from his time at Force India, Renault and his step-in races for Racing Point and Aston Martin respectively. These performances is all that Haas need. The peace of mind to know that both of their drivers will push the car to its limits, breaking the boundaries of its abilities, not hitting them. While it is also of no doubt that Mick is fast and has shown glimpses of what he could be, but for a team that are just fighting to survive on the grid, they do not have the time or funds to wait for their driver to acclimatise. Number 2. Experience. Haas's time in F1 has been full of ups and downs, meaning they haven't ever had an extended period of being stable and making it very hard to gather experience of being a stable team. Having 2 experienced drivers, who have gathered said experience either in the Haas itself, with Kevin Magnussen, or in similar cars, will help develop some experience as a consistent team. Nico's experience in F1 means he rarely makes race-ending or expensive mistakes, something that Haas desperately need from their drivers, and something that admittedly Mick has not been able to fulfill. Number 3. Mick's underperformance. Like I said previously, there is no doubt that there is a great racing driver in Mick Schumacher, maybe not to fulfill the legacy of his last name, but enough to establish himself as just a good driver. We've seen elements of his ability in Silverstone and Austria getting P8 and P6 respectively, but unfortunately has not been able to deliver the same amount of the car consistently as he did in those races. Many people commented on his anger and frustration after those races, showing there was elements of a good, hard racing driver in there, but he just has not been able to deliver that at all throughout the rest of the season. Yes, we do have to consider the Haas car isn't the best, and you could argue that also Kevin Magnussen hasn't gotten the best out of the car consistently. But in my opinion, I just feel Mick could have done a lot better, and I think a lot of people do agree with me. Kevin has performed better on 1-lap pace and in race scenarios, and on a much more consistent basis, especially getting the big results for the team that have kind of carried them throughout the season. It would do Haas, and good designers heart rate, the world of good to have 2 drivers performing like Kevin throughout a season. And that's when Nico comes in for me. Right, obviously there are going to be some opposition against the appointment of Nico Hulkenberg to Haas, especially due to the fact it means that Mick Schumacher, the golden boy of F1, will lose his seat. What I mean is, the Mick fanboys and fangirls will be majorly affected. While I'm no fanboy, this is painful to see due to his genuine quality, and the story behind his name and drive, and just also due to the fact it would spell the end of his F1 career very early on. Especially now since he is set to be dropped from the Ferrari Driver Academy, it will be an unlikely situation to see him return to F1 if he were to lose his seat and his academy spot. One of the main things I've glossed over as well is the fact that Nico and Kevin hate each other. They have a long-standing rivalry that has reached boiling points many times, most famously in this moment, and it could affect their concentration while driving, with maybe their concentration being centred on beating each other, not maximising the weekend for the team. It would be great as Formula 1 fans to watch a teammate rivalry again, and of course Netflix will be licking their lips, but at the same time, they are grown men and are probably able to put their egos aside just to help the team. And that's it. That's why I think Haas should be brave and drop Mick Schumacher and give Nico Hulkenberg a final shot in F1 to help propel the team into consistently performing with their admittedly average machinery. So thank you. Oh wait, I almost forgot. The most important reason why Nico Hulkenberg should be back on the F1 grid. It is without any doubt
Nico Hulkenberg. Nico Hulkenberg. Nico Hulkenberg.